Okie dokie, I am back again. Let's get going. So we have by Francine Rivers, and this is the first Francine Rivers book I ever received. It was from a friend who is, I think she's Christian, but anyway, she got me this book. I read it, I liked it, and it made me want to see what else Francine Rivers had done. I had actually met Francine Rivers back in early '08. Mark of the Lion series, oh my gosh. I mean, it's a religious aspect, but it's set in Rome. You have gladiators, you have crooked politicians, I guess you want to call them that, and it's got romance, it's got action, it's got everything. Whether you're a religious person or not, it is a beautiful, beautiful read. Book series, trilogy. Also, The Atonement Child by Francine Rivers was also a good book. Really liked it. And we have Nicholas Sparks books. I used to have all of them, but then I started getting rid of some of them I didn't feel I was going to ever read again. We have A Bend in the Road. I like that one. The Choice, which was good. Dear John, it was alright, but this started to become the downfall of Nicholas Sparks' books. They became too... he wasn't taking enough time to really develop the characters for me to enjoy them. And then it just kind of got worse from there. I mean, The Choice was good, but, I mean, we got The Guardian, which came out well before Dear John. One of my absolute favorites. We have The Last Song, which was written with Miley Cyrus in mind, so that pretty much tells you, yeah, it's alright. It's alright. We have The Lucky One. Didn't care for the movie as much. It was okay. I mean, it's got Zac Efron, so that was a plus. We have The Notebook, of course. You know, I actually haven't read the book. I have the movie, but I've never read the book. And The Rescue was also a good one. I mean, the stuff from his earlier days is good, but anything from Dear John after is like... Safe Haven, which was alright. And A Walk to Remember. That was the first Nicholas Sparks movie I ever saw. We have The Help by Catherine Stockett. Loved that. Loved the movie. William and Kate. I am a major, huge Prince William fan. I mean, he's only like 2 months and 3 days older than I am. And I had his pictures on my walls when I was 17, 18 years old. So... it was interesting, you know, I got to see about how they met and broke up and got back together and so on and so forth. So, these are the memoirs. We have Confessions of a Prairie Bitch by, of course, Alison Arngrim, who played Nellie Olson. Now, before her book, you had A Prairie Tale by Melissa Gilbert. Not impressed with that book. And then you also had The Way I See It by Melissa Sue Anderson, who played Mary. That book, I'm just going to say right now you can pass on it because it was not good either. I mean, basically, where all Melissa Gilbert talks about is who she slept with and this and that. It's like, you know what? I don't care about your relationship with Rob Lowe. I don't care. Anything after Little House on the Prairie, which she doesn't really even talk that much about. It just went downhill from there. I'm like, you know what? I had to really struggle to get through it. But this one, out of all the Little House books, this is my favorite. This, oh my gosh, I was laughing. It was an in-depth book of Little House. My favorite. We have Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. Now, in November 2011... I started really getting in, you know, watching a couple of movies about Anne Frank that were really good. There were 2 different ones, so I really liked them. I'd like to continue to keep reading about the Holocaust and stuff like that. We have another one that I picked up that's also about Anne Frank, but it's the biography by Melissa Mueller. Alright, we have John Grogan's The Longest Trip Home, which is a book that came out when I first met him. And this kind of just details his life when he lived back in Michigan growing up and near Detroit, I believe. But, yeah, I mean, it was good. It wasn't great, but, I mean, it was a follow-up to Marley and Me, so. We have a girl named Zippy, growing up small in Moreland, Indiana. And I actually, at the thrift store, I found this. Well, I got this one from Barnes & Noble, but, I mean, the thrift store I work at, there's a copy that came in, and I'm like, okay, I'm putting this out, because hopefully someone will buy it. Unfortunately, nobody has, and that's sad, because it's a good, cute read. It's funny. This girl is like a modern-day Scout Finch. Well, I mean, I think she grew up in, like, the 60s, but still, yeah. And then her sequel, She Got Up Off the Couch. That was a good one. See, you can see she grew up. Haven Kimmel. We have Still Woman Enough by Loretta Lynn. This book just, it's beautifully written by her. I mean, southern twang and all and everything. It's just, you feel like you're getting to know somebody. And she sounds like such a wonderful, nice person. I mean, it'd be cool to meet her, but I don't think that'll ever happen. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you this one. I met Frank McCourt. I got my picture taken with Frank McCourt before he died. I never thought he'd ever come to Muskegon, Michigan. And as fate would have it, he did, and I was ecstatic. I'm going to show you. There's his autograph right there. I got my picture taken with him because I knew if I didn't, I'd regret it one day. And we have a sequel, Tis, when he moved to New York when he turned 19. Yay for him. Just about him struggling in New York to make it, as everyone does. We got Teacher Man, which is about his 30 years with a New York school district. Yeah, it's cool. William and Harry, haven't read it yet, but you know how much I love William. Prince William, you know, they're having a baby soon, he and his wife, so I'm looking forward to that. A Child Called It. This was a good, beautiful, great, strong-hearted read. There are scenes that are hard to get through, but if you can, it is totally worth it. It just breaks my heart that some child would have to go through something so horrific. We have The Lost Boy, which depicts him in foster care. We have A Man Named Dave. It was about him as an adult and dealing with his demons, skeletons in the closet, and trying to move forward with his life. Now, The Privilege of Youth actually depicts a time when, I think, between the ages of 12 to 18, that weren't really covered in The Lost Boy. We have America's Boy by Wade Rouse. It's an autographed copy. It just talks about him, and I think he grew up in Missouri. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But, fun. Oh my gosh, he's hysterical. We have Confessions of a Prep School Mommy Handler, also by Wade. And we have At Least in the City, Someone Would Hear Me Scream. Which is also cool. And he lives in Michigan too, which is awesome. And also by Wade, we have It's All Relative, 2 Families, 3 Dogs, 34 Holidays, and 50 Boxes of Wine, a memoir. Just talking about a bunch of different holidays that he and his partner celebrate. It's kind of funny. I'm Not the Biggest Bitch in This Relationship by Wade Rouse. I haven't read it yet, but it's actually a compilation of short stories by stars who have pets and love their animals, and they want to talk about how great they are and the lessons they learn through owning them. Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. Oh my god, there are some memoirs that they come through and they just hit you. They leave a mark, a good mark, on your heart. And they leave a lasting impression. A few memoirs do that, and The Glass Castle was one of them. So, actually, I remember when I was reading, I'm like, why does some of this sound familiar? It's because I read a small part of it in the Writer's Digest. It's like, that's why it sounds familiar. It's really cool. I hope to meet her one day. That would be awesome. If I could get this book back in here, that would be even more better. We have Half-Broke Horses, which Jeanette talks about her grandma and her grandma's childhood growing up. We have Ryan White. What can I say about poor Ryan White? I mean, it's terrible what he went through. And the fact that the people of that town were so terrible to him. He's fine, you know, he's at peace now, so I'm not going to drudge up anything, but this book is great. And if you've seen the TV movie, it's on Netflix, instant streaming. You should watch it. Lucas Haas, I think that's his name, does a phenomenal job. Judith Light from Who's the Boss is also in it. Give it a watch. Give it a watch. You won't regret it. Alright, we got This Boy's Life by Tobias Wolff, and actually Toby, my guinea pig, that's part of the reason I named him Toby. It's a movie that came out in 92 or 93 and starred Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh my gosh. Next to Prince William. Whew. I mean, I haven't seen many of Leo's movies lately, but, you know, I'm rambling. So, alright, I'm going to leave you with these wonderful thoughts, and if you want to comment on my videos, that would be so cool, because I want to hear from you guys. You all have a good day. Whoa.